December 23rd, 1944, 04:30 hours. The snow-covered ridge outside Bastogne, Belgium. Sergeant Jack Harlan lies flat in a shallow ditch, his breath fogging the air. He's alone, completely cut off from his platoon. German SS troops, 50 strong at least, have him pinned. They've got machine guns trained on his position from 3 sides. Mortars whistle overhead every few seconds. One wrong move, and he's done. But they think they've got him cornered. They think he's out of options. In the next 30 seconds, everything changes. 12 Germans dead. The rest scatter. One American rifle turns the tide. It's hard to believe now, looking back. But wars like this one, in the frozen hell of the Ardennes, they strip everything down to basics. Survival. Instinct. A single shot that echoes louder than any order. Let's step back. Jack Harlan wasn't born for this. He was a farm boy from Iowa, 24 years old when Pearl Harbor hit. Enlisted the next day, no drama, just did it. Grew up fixing tractors, hunting deer in the off-season. Steady hands, quiet type, the kind who doesn't talk much but gets the job done. His old man fought in the Great War, lost a leg at the Somme. Jack heard the stories growing up, never complained about the mud or the early mornings on the farm, said it built character. By 44, he'd been in Europe for months, landed at Normandy, fought through the hedgerows of France, saw his first action at Saint-Lô. That was July. The town was a slaughterhouse. Artillery turned buildings to rubble. Jack's squad pushed house to house. He was point man that day, took out a German machine gun nest with a grenade and his M1. Saved 3 guys in his unit. Didn't get a medal for it, just a nod from the lieutenant. Good work, Harlan. He wasn't reckless, calculated, always. In the Bocage country they called him the Ghost. Slipped through lines like he knew the terrain, but it wasn't luck. It was watching, listening. Back home he'd track coyotes by their prints in the snow. Same thing here, reading the enemy, their patrols, their habits. Once, near Caen, he spotted a sniper before the shot came. Dropped the bastard from 200 yards, bullet through the scope. Clean. The push into Belgium changed things. December hit like a hammer. The Bulge offensive caught everyone off guard. Germans punched through the lines with panzers and infantry. Bastogne was the key. 101st Airborne dug in. Jack's unit, Easy Company 506th, held the foxholes. Temps dropped to 20 below. No winter gear. Frostbite took more men than bullets some days. Jack wrapped his boots in rags, kept moving. That's what you do. He'd been close to death before. September, outside Eindhoven, bridge assault. Germans had the crossing zeroed in. Mortar rounds walked right toward him. One landed 10 feet away. Shrapnel sliced his arm, kept firing, pulled a wounded private back under fire. Medics patched him up in a barn. 3 days later, back in the line. No time for heroes, just the next hill. By mid-December, the ring tightened around Bastogne. Supplies cut off. Planes couldn't drop ammo in the fog. Jack's platoon got orders to scout the ridges north of town, recon for a counter-push. They moved out at dusk on the 22nd. 11 men, rifles, a few grenades, no heavy weapons. The woods were thick with pine. Snow muffled their steps, but the Germans were waiting. Ambush at 2200 hours, flashes in the dark, bursts from MP40s. Jack's best friend, Tommy Ruiz, caught the first volley. Chest hit, down in seconds. The platoon scattered. Jack dove behind a log, returned fire, picked off 2 shadows before his mag ran dry. They fought for an hour. Bullets chipped the trees. Grenades exploded close enough to rattle teeth. Jack called in what he could over the radio. Static, mostly. By midnight, it was over. 8 dead, 2 captured, Jack alone. Wounded in the leg, but mobile. A grazing round. He bandaged it with his shirt. Listened to the Germans sweep the area. Voices in the cold. Laughing. They thought the fight was won. He moved at first light. Dawn on the 23rd. Snow, falling heavy, tracked parallel to their patrol. Avoided the main road. Hunger gnawed. Last meal was cold sea rations yesterday. But he pushed. Knew Bastogne needed eyes out here. The ridge ahead, high ground. If he could reach it, spot their build-up. Panzers massing, maybe. By 0300, he was there. The ditch, overlooking a frozen stream. Germans below, setting up. Mortars, half-tracks. They didn't see him at first. He watched, counted. 20, 30 men. More coming. Radio was dead. Battery shot. Had to get closer. Signal somehow. That's when they spotted him. A patrol crested the rise, yelled in German. "Americana!" Pins him down. MG-42 chatters. Bullets kick up snow inches from his helmet. He rolls, fires back, hits one in the shoulder. They spread out, flank him. Mortar tubes swivel his way. He's got maybe 100 yards of open ground behind. No cover. Outnumbered 5-1. Easy. They close in. Think he's trapped, shouting orders, advancing slow. Jack steadies his breath, checks his M1, 8 rounds left, bayonet fixed. The lead German, SS officer, black uniform, raises his pistol, points right at the ditch, smirks. They've got him, under control. 30 seconds tick by, snow swirls, wind howls low. He waits, 1 beat, 2. The officer steps forward, that's the moment. Jack surges up. Rifle cracks, headshot, the man drops, chaos erupts. Jack's already moving, slides left, fires again. Another down. They return fire. Bullets whine past. He dives behind a stump, pops up. Third shot. Leg hit on a radio man. The mortar crew panics. Shells fly wild. One detonates short, shreds 2 of their own. Screams now, orders barked. Jack doesn't stop. 4th round, chest on a gunner. The MG-42 falls silent. He reloads on the run. Grenade from his belt, pulled the pin with his teeth, lobs it into the group. Blast rips through. 4 more gone. Shrapnel everywhere. The survivors break, run for the trees. Half-track revs, but Jack's last shot pings the engine. It stalls. He stands there, smoke rising, bodies in the snow. 12 dead, the ridge clear. For now. He grabs a German radio, static, but it works. Calls it in. "This is Harlan, ridge secure, enemy retreating south." Back in Bastogne, the brass hears it. 1 man, turned the probe, bought time. Jack limps down, medics waiting, no fanfare, just a cot and morphine. But word spreads, the farm boy from Iowa, the one they couldn't control. Wars turn on moments like that. One decision, seconds that rewrite the map. In the bulge, it kept the line holding, kept the push alive. Jack Harlan, he just did what he always did. Survived, and changed everything. Jack Harlan grew up in a clapboard house on the edge of a cornfield in central Iowa. The kind of place where the wind never stops whistling through the silos. Born in 1920, he was the middle son of 3. His father, Elias, came home from France in 1918 with 1 leg and a chest full of medals he never polished. Elias didn't talk about the war much. Just enough to warn his boys, it ain't glory, it's mud and waiting. Jack listened, absorbed it like the soil soaks rain. As a kid, Jack was the one fixing fences after storms, mending harnesses on the plow horses. School was a 1-room deal, 8 miles by foot or bike. He wasn't top of the class, but he read the papers, followed Lindbergh's flight, dreamed a little about the world beyond the county line. Summers meant hay baling from dawn till the stars came out. Winters, he'd hunt with his father's old Springfield. Rabbits, mostly, sometimes a buck if the luck held. Taught him patience, line up the shot, squeeze, don't jerk. Pearl Harbor changed the air in the house. December 7th, 1941. Radio crackling with the news. Elias stared at the floor. "They're coming for us again." Jack was 21, working the farm full-time now, since his older brother joined the National Guard. Next morning, he drove the truck to the recruitment office in Des Moines. No speeches. Signed the papers. Basic at Camp Dodge. Then shipped to Fort Benning for infantry training. Marches in the Georgia heat. Bayonet drills till your arms burned. Jack adapted quick. Steady aim on the range. Never missed a step in formation. By spring 43, he was overseas. England first. Wet fields and pubs that served warm beer. The guys in his unit, Easy Company, were a mix. City boys from Brooklyn, farmers like him from the Midwest. Jack kept to himself mostly, wrote letters home twice a week. All fine, food's okay. Never mentioned the drills or the rumors of invasion. D-Day hit June 6, 1944. Jack dropped with the 101st into Normandy, parachute snag over Utah Beach, landed hard in a hedgerow, ankle twisted, but he linked up by dawn. The first days were blur of hedgerows, those thick earthen banks laced with wire. Germans hidden everywhere. Jack's squad cleared a farmhouse on the second night. Door kicked in, shouts in the dark. He fired from the hip, dropped a shadow rushing the stairs. First kill, felt the recoil in his shoulder, kept moving. St. Lo came next. July heat turning the fields to ovens. The town was bombed flat. Rubble piles higher than a man. Jack's platoon pushed the streets. Snipers in the church steeple. He spotted the glint first, glass of the scope, called it out low, waited for the crack of the shot, then answered with his M1. 50 yards. Bullet found the spot. The sniper slumped. Squad advanced. No time to check the body. That action earned him quiet respect. Lieutenant Hayes pulled him aside after. "You see things, Harlan? Keep doing that." No pat on the back, just the nod. Jack's hand stayed steady, even when the medics stitched a gash on his hand from barbed wire. He learned the rifle like an extension, cleaned it every night. 8 rounds in the clip, plus what you could scrounge. The hedgerow fighting dragged into August. Bocage country. Tanks couldn't maneuver. Infantry did the dying. Jack's unit assaulted a crossroads near Coutances. Germans entrenched with MG-42s. The buzz-saw sound, that's what they called it, rips through the air like hornets. Jack flanked left, belly crawling through a ditch. Mud caked his face. Spotted the gunner reloading. Grenade arced perfect. Blast silenced it. He rushed the position. Bayonet work on the assistant, close, blood on his sleeve. Pulled back as his squad overran the line. By September, they were pushing east, Market Garden, the bridge at Eindhoven, paratroopers dropping in the Dutch flats. Jack's company secured the south approach. Germans counterattacked at dusk, half-tracks rolling up the road, mortars thumping. One round landed close. Shrapnel peppered his leg pack. He grabbed Private Ellis, hit in the thigh, dragged him 50 yards to a ditch under fire, bullets ploughing the dirt beside them. "Hold on," Jack said, flat, no panic. Medics got Ellis out later. Lived. That night in a shelled barn, Jack bandaged his own scrapes. Arm throbbed from an earlier graze. Morphine dulled it. He thought of home, the farm waiting, but no regrets. War was work now, like harvesting in a storm. You pushed through, fall deepened, they crossed into Belgium. Towns like ghost shells, leaves turning under tank treads. Jack scouted ahead often, eyes sharp for ambushes. Near the border, he picked off a German patrol from a tree line, 300 yards. Wind quartering. First shot missed, adjusted. Second took the leader in the neck. The rest scattered. His platoon called him Ghost after that. Slipped in, struck, gone. By December, the cold bit hard. Ardennes forests, pine thickets heavy with frost. The bulge started December 16th. Germans hit like wolves in the night. Panzers roaring through the fog. Jack's unit fell back to Bastogne. The town became a fortress. 101st surrounded. No resupply. Rations down to crackers and snow for water. Jack's boots froze solid. He wrapped them in burlap from a wrecked truck, kept his fingers moving. Fired drills in the foxhole to stay loose. Nights were worst. Patrols slipping close, whispers in German. Jack took watch turns. Once he heard boots crunching snow. Signaled the platoon. Ambush set. They dropped 4 before the rest fled. No sleep after. Adrenaline fades slow. His leg wound from earlier ached in the cold. The graze from the ambush on the 22nd, but he ignored it. Platoon down to skeletons. Tommy Ruiz gone, others too. Jack led the remnants. Decisions came fast now. Flank or hold, advance or pull back. He chose right most times. Saved the squad from a minefield once. Spotted the wires glinting. The Ridge Scout was his call. December 22nd, dusk patrol, 11 men out. Woods silent under snow. Jack point. felt the trap before it sprung, but too late. Bursts lit the dark. Tommy down, chaos. Jack fired blind at first, then aimed. 2 kills in the melee, platoon broke. He covered the retreat, took a round to the calf. Grazed meat, bound it tight, hid till dawn. Alone now, tracked the enemy. Hunger, a dull roar. Pushed to the ridge by 0300 on the 23rd. High ground, Germans below. Building strength. He watched. Counted heads. Radio dead. Had to act. They pinned him at 0430. SS closing in. Thought they owned the moment. But Jack had faced worse. The farm taught endurance. The beaches, precision. The bridges, grit. This was just another field. Another shot to take. The snow kept falling, thick and relentless, turning the ridge into a white blur. Jack Harlan pressed his body deeper into the ditch, the frozen earth numbing his elbows and knees. His M1 Garand rested steady across the lip of the hole. Barrel pointed toward the shapes moving below. The SS officer's body lay twisted 20 yards out, blood staining the snow red. The shot had been clean, right between the eyes. But now the rest were reacting. Shouts echoed up the slope. "Feuer! Der Amerikaner!" He'd heard that tone before. Back in Normandy, the first time his squad got pinned in a sunken lane. July 44, hedgerows like walls on both sides. Germans above, lobbing potatoes, those stick grenades. One exploded 10 feet from Jack's position. Dirt rained down. His buddy from Texas Mills took shrapnel in the neck. Gurgling. Jack didn't freeze. He popped up, squeezed off 3 rounds, dropped the grenadier mid-throw. The squad broke through because of it. No time to mourn Mills, just the next hedge. Here it was colder, sharper. The wind cut through his field jacket like a knife. Bullets from an MG-42 started stitching the ground nearby. Thump, thump, thump. Snow erupted in puffs, inches from his boot. Jack didn't flinch. He shifted left, slow, using the ditch's curve for cover, counted the enemy again. 15 visible now, spreading out. 2 mortar crews adjusting tubes. A half-track idling at the base, engine growling low. They had him bracketed. Fire from the left flank, the front, and those mortars ready to drop hell. His leg throbbed from the old graze. Blood soaked the bandage, but he ignored it. Pain was old news. Like the time near Caen, August. His platoon assaulted an orchard. Germans in the trees with scoped Kar-98s. 1 round clipped Jack's helmet, spun him around, dazed, ears ringing. He hit the dirt, tasted apple rot and mud. Snipers zeroed in. 2 more shots kicked up soil by his head. But he rolled, found a route for cover. Waited for the reload click, fired back, hit one through the leaves. The other bolted. Platoon pushed on. Jack's head bled, but he taped it with a strip from his kit, kept leading point. These SS boys moved like they knew their business. Black collars, iron crosses glinting under the snow. The officer's death had rattled them, but not broken them. A sergeant barked orders, advance in bounds. 3 men leaped forward low and fast, using stumps for shields. Jack's breath fogged steady. He lined up the lead one. Wind pushing left. 800 yards per second, his old man said for the 30.06. Squeeze. A crack. The man jerked, dropped, clutching his chest. The others dove flat, spraying fire wild. Rounds whined over Jack's head now. One nicked the ditch wall, spraying ice into his face. He blinked it away, thought of Eindhoven again, that bridge fight. Mortars walking the road like a reaper. The air shook with each blast. Jack had been exposed, no ditch, just a low wall. Shrapnel from the close one tore his sleeve, burned like fire, but he spotted the spotter, German with binoculars on a rise. 400 yards, tough shot in the smoke. He adjusted for drop, fired twice, second hit, spotter down. Mortars shifted away. He dragged Ellis through it all, the kid's blood hot on his hands. Almost there, Jack muttered then. Same words he used now to himself. The Germans adapted quick. The mortar crew fired a probe. Shell whistled high, then down. Impacted 50 yards behind, shaking the ground. Jack felt the vibration in his teeth. If they walked those in, he'd be paced. No running in the open, they'd cut him down. He scanned for options. The half-track revved. Tracks churning snow. If it crested, game over. Its turret swung his way, a 50 cal ready, but the driver hesitated, sloppy in the whiteout. Jack's mind raced clean. No panic, just facts. 5 rounds left in the mag. 2 grenades. Bayonet sharp. He'd been here before, outnumbered, outgunned. Bocage again. That crossroads near Coutances, MG-42 ripping from a barn, his squad pinned, screaming. Jack crawled alone, mud sucking at his knees. Heart pounding, but hands sure. Grenade first into the window, then rush, bayonet into the gunner as he staggered. Close work. The man's eyes wide, breath hot. Jack twisted, pulled free. Blood sprayed his face. Squad overran after. He wiped it off. Reloaded, no shake. Shouts pulled him back. The flanking group, 4 men now, crept closer. 30 yards. MP40's up. One raised to spray. Jack beat him. Rose, just enough, fired from the shoulder, hit center mass. The man crumpled, weapon clattering. The others fired back, bullets thudding into the ditch. One grazed Jack's pack, tore the strap. He dropped low, rolled right. Snow filled his collar. Cold shock, but he pushed it down. The mortars thumped again. 2 rounds this time. First short. Blasting a tree upslope. Branches cracked, fell like spears. Second closer, 30 yards. Concussion wave hit Jack's chest, drove the air out. Ears buzzed. He coughed, tasted blood from biting his tongue. But he was alive. Saw the crew reloading, frantic. Opportunity there. He'd turned worse tides. Market Garden, the flats outside Nijmegen, Germans counter-attacking with infantry waves. No cover, but craters. Jack's position took direct hits, shell fragments everywhere. One buddy lost an arm, screaming. Jack suppressed the advance, picking targets steady. 8 shots, 6 hits. Bought time for the Brits to link up. Lieutenant said later, "You held the line, Harlan." No more. Jack just nodded, cleaned his rifle in the rain. Now, the half-track lurched forward. Tracks grinding ice. If it reached the ditch, he'd be overrun. Jack checked his grenade, pulled the pin slow, held it, counted the crew closing. The sergeant yelled, pointing. They charged, 6 strong. Bullets chipped the earth around him. One stung his hand. Graze, shallow. He ignored it. This was the edge, the moment where farm boy met soldier. Iowa winters taught waiting out blizzards. Normandy, spotting the unseen. Bridges, pulling through fire, all led here. The ridge, the snow, the enemy thinking control. Jack rose to a knee. Grenade arced true into the mortar pit. Blast roared. Screams cut short. Shrapnel flew. 2 down, tubes twisted. The charge faltered. Men hit the snow, clutching wounds. The half-track braked hard. Jack fired. Driver's window shattered. Machine stalled. Chaos spread. Orders fractured. They broke formation, eyes wide in the smoke. He breathed even. 4 rounds left. The fight wasn't over. But the advantage shifted, inch by inch, second by second, just like always. The smoke from the grenade hung thick, curling like ghosts in the swirling snow. Jack Harlan wiped his eyes, the acrid bite stinging his skin. The mortar pit was a wreck now, twisted metal and bodies sprawled in the red slush. 3 down there, maybe 4. The blast had bought him seconds, nothing more. Shouts ripped through the haze. "Rückzug! No, halt!" The SS sergeant, face twisted under his helmet, waved his men forward again. They weren't breaking yet, not fully. Jack slid deeper into the ditch, his gloved hands numb on the M1. 4 rounds. He chambered 1, the bolt clicking sharp. The half-track sat dead 20 yards down slope, its engine coughing smoke. The driver slumped over the wheel, blood trickling from the shattered glass. But the turret gunner was alive, swiveling the 50 cal toward Jack's position. The barrel chattered to life. Tracers streaked low, chewing the ditch edge. Snow and dirt exploded, pelting his back like hail. He flattened, felt the ground shudder. 1 round ricocheted off a rock, whined past his ear. He'd faced machine guns before. St. Lo, that rubble-choked street, his squad pinned behind a collapsed wall. The MG-42 up high, sweeping left to right, bullets stitching the air, turning concrete to dust. Jack's ears rang from the near misses. He waited for the barrel to glow red, overheat, then sprinted low and zigzagging, fired from the hip on the run, hit the loader first, then the gunner as he fumbled a belt. The nest went quiet. Squad poured through. He didn't celebrate, just reloaded, scanned for the next threat. Here, the cold made it worse. Fingers stiff, trigger pull heavier. The gunner paused to reload, belt clanking. Jack rose just enough, sighted through the iron. Wind gusting hard now, snow blinding. 300 yards, dropping. He exhaled slow. Crack. The shot bucked. The gunner jerked back, helmet flying. Turret stilled, but return fire came from the flanks. MP40 bursts, short and vicious. Bullets snapped overhead, one clipping a pine branch above. Needles rained down, cold and sticky. The sergeant rallied them. 6 men left standing, pushing up the slope in a ragged line. Faces pale, eyes locked on the ditch. They knew the American was alone, thought numbers would end it. One lobbed a grenade, stick-type potato masher. It arced high, tumbling end over end. Jack saw it coming, black against the white. He rolled right, fast as the snow allowed, impacted 5 yards out. Blast roared, dirt fountaining. Shrapnel zipped past, one shard slicing his jacket sleeve. Heat flash warmed his cheek for a split second. He coughed, lungs burning from the powder. No time to check. He popped up, fired twice. First round took a man in the knee, screaming drop, clutching the wound. Second missed high in the shoulder of another. The line faltered, but the sergeant charged alone. Pistol raised. "Sturb!" yelling like it meant something. Jack's third round met him center chest. The man staggered, fired wild into the air, fell face first, sliding down the incline. 2 rounds left. Jack's breath came steady, but his legs screamed now, old wound reopening, blood warm under the bandage. The survivors, 4, huddled behind the stalled half-track. Whispers, frantic. One peeked out. Rifle up. Jack beat him to it. Last round cracked, hit the man's arm, spun him back. The M1 clicked empty. He dropped it, pulled the bayonet, fixed it quick, the lock snapping. They'd been close to death together before. His platoon, back in the bocage near Coutances. Night assault on that barn. Germans inside, barricaded, door blown, but they poured out, bayonets flashing in the moonlight. Jack took one head-on, steel clashing, the Germans strong, pressing. Jack twisted, drove his knee up, then plunged the blade home. Felt the give, the hot spill. Pulled free as another lunged. Parried, countered. 2 down before the squad cleared the rest. Hands shook after, but he hid it. Wiped the blade on snow, moved on. The snow picked up, visibility down to 30 yards. Jack gripped the rifle like a spear. The half-track's bulk shielded them. But he heard the clicks, reloading, planning. A grenade rolled out first, bumping toward the ditch. He kicked snow over it, dove left, muffled pop. Fragments peppered the air, none close. Then they came. 3 rushing from the right, the 4th covering with his carabiner. Shots cracked, low. One grazed Jack's boot heel, tore the leather. He surged up, met the first with the bayonet, thrust low into the gut. The man gasped, eyes wide, hands grabbing Jack's collar. Weight pulled him forward. Jack twisted free, shoved the body down. Second man fired point blank. Bullet burned across Jack's ribs, shallow furrow. Pain lit up, sharp. He swung the rifle butt, cracked the jaw. The German reeled, dropped his weapon. Jack finished with the blade, quick, efficient. No rage, just survival. The third hesitated, snow up to his knees. Fired wild, missed. Jack closed the gap, 5 strides, lunged. Bayonet caught the arm guard, glanced off. The man countered, rifle barrel slamming Jack's shoulder. Numb flash. They grappled close, breaths mingling in the cold. German stronger, muscled. Pushed Jack back toward the ditch edge. Boots slipped on ice. Jack hooked his leg, tripped him. They fell together, rolling in the powder. Fists now. German's glove smashed Jack's nose, blood hot and coppery. Jack head-butted, felt bone crunch. Rolled on top, drove the bayonet home. Once, twice, done. The last one ran, back toward the stream, boots pounding. Jack stood, chest heaving. Grabbed the fallen MP40, full mag. Aimed, but let him go. No need. The ridge was his. Smoke cleared slow. Bodies dotted the white, steam rising from wounds. 12 down like he knew it would be. The half-track smoked quiet. Mortar's silent. He slumped against the ditch wall, pain settling in waves, ribs fire, nose swelling, leg a mess, but alive. The radio from the officer crackled now. He keyed it, voice flat. "Harlan, position held. Send help." Static answered, then a voice. "Bastogne control." "Copy. Hold tight." Wars like this, they test the core. One man against the storm. Jack Harlan, farm steady, had bent it back. The line held because of it. Seconds that stacked into hours. Advantage lost in the blink. The ridge fell silent, save for the wind moaning through the pines and the distant rumble of artillery from Bastogne. Jack Harlan knelt in the ditch, the MP40 heavy in his hands, its stock slick with blood and snow. His nose throbbed, blood crusting his mustache. Ribs burned where the bullet had grazed, a raw stripe under his jacket. The leg wound pulsed hot, soaking his trouser leg. But he scanned the slope anyway. No movement. The last German's tracks trailed into the white void below, vanishing toward the stream. 12 bodies marked the snow, twisted shapes, dark stains spreading slow. The half-track sat gutted, its turret askew like a broken toy. Mortar tubes lay bent, one shell unfired at their feet. He'd been this close before. That night in the bocage, after the barn cleared. His hands shook then too, adrenaline crashing. Platoon sergeant found him wiping the bayonet, face blank. "You good, Harlan?" Jack nodded. "Fine." No words for the eyes staring up from the mud, just the weight. Here it settled heavier. The SS officer's pistol lay nearby, grip frozen. Jack picked it up, checked the mag, half full, slid it into his belt. Useful. Static crackled from the radio again. He keyed it, voice rough but even. "Harlan, ridge clear, enemy routed, need evac." Pause, then, "Copy that, Sergeant. Birds inbound, hold position." Birds, air resupply maybe, or a patrol from the 101st. Jack leaned back against the frozen wall, breath fogging slow. The cold clawed in now, deeper than before. He pulled a cigarette from his pack, crushed, but one survived. Lit it with a match from the dead sergeant's coat. Inhaled deep, smoke mixed with the cordite tang. First drag in hours. Down the slope, a crow landed on the half-track's hood, picked at something dark. Jack watched it, mind drifting. Farm mornings, pre-dawn, checking traps in the snow, coyotes smart but predictable. Wait them out. This was bigger. No traps, just men. He'd turned the ambush on the 22nd because he read their steps in the dark. Platoon gone, but he moved. Now this, one ditch, one rifle, 12 less pushing south. Bastogne breathed easier for it. Footsteps crunched, faint at first, then closer. Jack tensed, MP40 up. Shapes emerged from the tree line behind, khaki against white. Americans, 4 from a recon team, rifles ready. Lead man. Corporal with a scarf wrapped high raised a hand. "Harlan, that you?" Jack lowered the weapon. "Yeah." They crested the ditch, eyes wide at the scene, bodies everywhere. Snow churned to pink mud. One whistled low. "Jesus, what the hell happened here?" Jack stood, wincing as his leg buckled. "They pinned me, thought they had it." The corporal stared at the officer's corpse, then Jack. "Alone." Jack nodded. "Yeah, no more." They helped him down the slope, one arm over a shoulder, the MP40 slung across his back. Radio man called it in as they moved. Found him. One man held the ridge. 12 KIA confirmed. Voices overlapped on the line, excitement cutting the fatigue. Back in Bastogne by 0700, the town a hive of foxholes and trucks under camouflage nets. Medics swarmed Jack at the aid station, a church basement, candles flickering, stripped his gear, probed the wounds. Grazes mostly, lucky bastard. Morphine pricked his arm, haze settling. They stitched the ribs, bandaged the leg fresh. Nose reset with a crack that made him grunt. Lieutenant Hayes there, face gaunt from the siege. "Report, Sergeant." Jack lay on the cot, voice flat. "SS build up north, mortars half-track, pushed back now, ridge ours." Hayes nodded slow, heard the count. Brass wants you in the morning. Debrief. No smile, just the weight of it. Words spread fast in the lines. GIs in the mess tent, cold stew and coffee, talked it up. Harlan, that Iowa kid, took 12 SS alone. Laughter mixed with awe. Ghost strikes again. Tommy Ruiz's squad mates came by later. One clapped his good shoulder. For Tommy! Jack met his eyes. Yeah. By noon, the skies cleared some. C-47s droned low, dropping chutes with ammo and blankets. The ring around Bastogne held tighter. German probes faltered that day. No push on the ridge. Jack's stand bought the counterattack time. Patton's boys linked up Christmas Eve. But this moment stacked the odds. One report went up the chain, Division HQ, then Corps. McAuliffe himself, commander of the 101st, pinned a silver star on Jack 2 weeks later in a cleared field outside town, snow melting to slop. For actions above and beyond, December 23rd, 1944. Jack stood straight. No speech, just saluted, medal heavy on his chest. He shipped home in 45, war over for him. Farm waiting in Iowa. Elias met the train, leg thumping on the platform, hugged him once, hard. Proud. Jack nodded. Went back to tractors, cornrows, married a girl from town, raised 2 boys, told them stories sparse, enough to warn, like his dad did. The ridge faded to memory, but in quiet winters, snow falling thick, he'd step out. Watch the fields. Remember the ditch, the shots, the shift. Wars don't end clean. They carve lines in men. Jack Harlan's line held when others broke. Seconds of control lost. A farm boy's steady hand. That's what tips the scale. Not heroes, just the ones who don't quit. In the Ardennes freeze, it kept the world turning.